Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Imad Akhtar and Audrey Seek presenting Mind Your Business. Today's guest is someone who has a pretty interesting job, Audrey. She shaped how Singaporeans think about fun. I'm talking humble board game cafes to building the future of play. Many of us, speaking of which, grew up with Play Nation, the cafe that gave us a home away from home to gather, game, and reconnect with friends.
Yeah, but Play Nation didn't just stop at cafes, right? Over the years, it's grown into a creative powerhouse with toys, collectibles, and now a very exciting new collaboration with one of the most beloved names in kawaii culture, which is Sanrio.
That's right. So to find out how she built a brand rooted in joy, what it takes to keep innovating in the business of fun, and the latest launch that has Sanrio fans buzzing, we're pleased to welcome on the show the founder and managing director of Play Nation, Kai Jun Wong. Kai Jun, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's go right back to the beginning. You started Play Nation long before board game cafes were a mainstream thing here in Singapore. How did it all start? What inspired you to get into the space? And what were you doing before that?
Oh, wow. I heard you talking about salaries. So back then, I was really just an auditor. And then, I was really taking the train every day to Raffles Place. I'll be jam-packed in that train together with everyone. And then when I look around, right, I saw that people were not smiling. They were jam-packed on the morning like sardines in the MRT, and it's like a repeating thing, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed that people did not have a smile on their face. So at one point in time, I thought, what if I could start a business that literally put a smile on people's face?
Wow.
And that's how Play Nation came about.
Was auditing not putting a smile on people's faces? Is that what you were saying?
No, that would be too bad to say on air. Can I say that?
What about the salaries?
Salaries was actually fantastic back then.
All right.
So now you are the founder and managing director of Play Nation, and it may have started as just a cafe, but today it's clearly much more than that. You're spanning F&B, retail, licensing, and even original IP creation. So how did this evolution happen? Like, tell us from 2009 to this moment. Is this something that you've always planned for?
How much time do you have? Okay, I try to, really condense these. But really, it was all because the cafe business brought us a lot closer to the consumers. And then we started realizing that, wow, people love to play. And the kind of people that were visiting the cafes were not kids. They were kidults. So I'm talking about the 16 to 40. We will see how much they light up whenever they play games and toys. So after a while, we thought, can these be more than just a cafe? So can we actually bring games and toys into people's everyday's life? And that's where we started to do board games. So as early as 2017, Play Nation published its own board games in Essen, Germany. And then to our surprise, it was very, very well loved. So that was the first foray internationally, right? And when we realized that, wow, a Singapore company had what it takes to create games and toys. So when we came back after that, the experience shook us a lot. And we started really thinking, what if we get serious about games and toys and started producing original content, then is Singapore capable of exporting that out? So that really is the beginning of why we create games and toys.
Yeah, for all that to be able to materialize, you would probably have needed a lot of cash. So when you were building Play Nation from the ground up, did you pour in your own capital into this venture? Or how did it transpire?
Yeah, we were very strict about our financial discipline. So we thought we never wanted to, borrow a lot of money to really grow it. So in the beginning phase, it was really all about bootstrapping. It was the founders emptying our bank account to zero, growing it, and then in a few years' time, putting everything back again to zero. So it was a constant journey of bankrupting yourself to grow the company.
And it was just you back then, was it?
Yeah,
a solo operation.
Me with another two partners, Gabriel and Kai Ling. Yeah, that was pretty much the three of us back then.
But it seems like it has paid off. You guys are doing well now, and you guys have survived the pandemic. Not very many F&B spots are able to say the same. Talk to us about how you guys make your money. What are the main revenue streams, and what contributes the most to your bottom line?
During COVID, we were very, very hard hit. So obviously, F&B revenue dropped quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that was when we went full steam. So we had time on our hand, we had resources, we went full steam into product design and development. So today, I would think that, selling our own produce games and toys. That is a main bulk of the revenue. The cafe still brings in very, very decent revenue post-COVID. So, we have kept our cafe even until today. And then right now, right, as the company is growing, we are starting to export our games and toys. So actually, you can find our games and toys in US.
Oh,
as well
fantastic.
as Australia and New Zealand. And you'll be surprised to know Japan, Korea, Taiwan. So that has grown quite a bit for us. So export sales actually also contributes to the revenue.
Yeah, funny you mentioned you struggled during COVID, because during that lockdown period, I got hopelessly addicted to board games as a means to keep myself intellectually stimulated.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you recall those days as well. But yeah, playing on the revenue stream question, how do you balance the margins between F&B and consumer products?
I guess the way we see is that F&B is our marketing. It's always going to be where we build our communities, where we walk very close to the consumers, identify where's the latest trend. So that we see as our consumer touch point to the bigger, retail and distribution business.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about collaborations now. If you could tell us about some of the brands that you partner with. We understand that Sanrio is one of these brands. Of course, a huge name. I love Hello Kitty, and I think Ahmad does too. So tell us more
I love
about...
Sunny Angels.
Tell us more about these collaborations.
I mean, I love Sanrio ever since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity came up to do games and toys, then obviously Sanrio, that came into our mind. But ever since Sanrio, we have had collaborations with Disney, with Care Bears, with Peanuts, with Crayon Shin-chan, and the list goes on and on. Yeah.
Help us understand this kid-out phenomenon a little bit more.
What do you want to know about the kid-out phenomenon?
What's been driving growth in this space? What kind of potential does it hold?
Like all of us loved toys when we were young, right? And back then, Singapore was not an affluent economy like it was now. So we constantly didn't get enough games and toys, right? So most of us grow up knowing that games and toys is something that our parents would buy us maybe once or twice a year. So now that you have the ability to buy it for yourself, it always invokes a lot of joy. I think it is that finding that kid in you and finding joy that's driving a lot of these kid-out trends.
Yeah, so the thing is, I wouldn't consider myself a kidult, but I have gotten a little bit into the collectibles now. And whenever I bring it home, my kids ask if it's for them. I'm like, no, actually, it's for mommy. So actually, when it comes to kidults, adults buying toys for themselves, now we make up 25% of toy buyers, but drive 60% of revenue growth. So how much are you leaning into this trend?
Interestingly, you brought up the statistics, 25% of kid-outs buyer buying into 60% of the toys made. Actually, on a global scale, the number of kid-out buyers have surpassed the kids buyers. Right? So we are looking at the global market. Kid-outs market now form the largest base of people who buy games and toys. So I would think that, there's a very underserved market in the kid-out segment because there's always a kid in us. And that kid can't wait to be fed.
So you don't see it as a fad, it's here to stay, right?
Yeah, I see it as a lifestyle fundamental change. I think that as we grow up and we are living in a city, it gets very, very stressful. People are looking for a piece of luxury, of a, happy item that they can buy for affordable price. And if it's even priced, the more price it is, the more rare it is, the more value they see in it, in chasing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask about your competition. We have seen the proliferation of esports, online gaming. Do you see collaboration ops between digital and tabletop gaming worlds?
Definitely. So currently, one of the major trends we are looking at is how to, bring online gaming IPs into offline physical products. So like the consumer storytelling continues, right? So in a typical day, they go back, they play LOL, they play all sorts of online games. And in their day-to-day actual life, they are playing with the figurines, the toys. So that connects into one whole consumer lifestyle.
Okay, so with this growing market segment, especially with the kidults that we were talking about, where do you see Play Nation 5 years from now? Do you see you leaning more into this trend, maybe more cafes, more products? What are you thinking?
I think that Play Nation will continue to focus on creating like what ticks with our adult consumers. I think that IP is definitely going to be a mainstay. But at the same time, we are also looking to develop like more of Singapore's fabric and culture. What is it that we can develop into something that's exportable, into something that, like people will love in a games and toys product? Yeah, so I think 5 years down the road, you might see Play Nation doing a lot of our own IPs. And at the same time, we are also going to work continuously with all these internationally known IPs to just make the world a happier place.
Indeed, it's not a bad option to make the world a happier place. Are you seeing any new trends in the types of games people are drawn to? So storytelling or strategy or party games, for example?
I feel like people always start off with like very simple party games. But as they play more and more games, that's when they're drawn to the storytelling. You know, people love the product initially. They look more into it and they want to understand the story behind it. So I guess, you know, it's not just about creating the product, but rather the whole story that is behind the product.
Yeah. So we want to know your story as an entrepreneur. You know, many of our listeners are aspiring founders, or maybe they're in the early stages of starting their own company, and they would look at PlayNation as a homegrown success story. So if you were starting PlayNation today, in this day and age, 2025, what would you do differently, or what would stay the same?
Wow, I'll do it a whole lot differently because the landscape changes every 10 years. So 16 years ago, right, you will start with a brick and mortar business and it's still very, very relevant. But I think today, if you were to start any business, you would think that, you know, you want a portion of it to be digital and you want it to be very much focused on the experience rather than just selling a product or a service, because experience is the one that is going to invoke emotions with your consumers, and that emotions is what is going to help your product or your service to sell.
What is one piece of advice you'd give entrepreneurs who want to turn a passion project into a sustainable business?
I would say you have to think very carefully whether this passion is still going to be the same passion once it becomes business. Because you're literally going to live like 24/7 with it. So it's easy to kind of lose your passion once you start it as a business.
But you won't really know until you start, right?
Yeah, but as you go along, if this is a true passion, you're going to realize that you get more and more skillful in the journey and you can turn your passion into a money-making business.
All right. Well, you've shown us how joy and creativity can also be serious business. And thank you so much for sharing with us your journey with PlayNation and your insights as well on Kidult and collaborations. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
No problem, Audrey.
Thank you for coming on. That was Kai Jun Wong, founder and managing director of PlayNation. Keep it right here on Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.